Have you ever heard of the man who tried to delete the internet? It sounds like a character from a movie, but he was a real person. Not a supervillain, but a teenager from a remote island in Scotland. His name is Jake Davis, but online he was known as Topiary. He was a central figure in the infamous hacker groups Anonymous and LulzSec, and back in 2011 he caused absolute chaos. So who were these groups? You've probably heard of Anonymous. They're a decentralized collective of hacktivists, known for fighting censorship and promoting freedom of information. Think of them as digital vigilantes. LulzSec, short for Lul Security, was a splinter group that Jake helped lead. Their motto was simple. They did it for the lulz, for the laughs. They weren't just activists. They were pranksters with serious skills, aiming to expose security flaws and mock powerful organizations just to prove they could. What drove a teenager from the Shetland Islands to take on some of the world's biggest powers? Initially, it was activism. Jake and his fellow hackers were motivated by a sense of justice, targeting what they saw as corruption, corporate greed, and government secrecy. But as LulzSec grew, their motivation shifted. It became more about chaos, humor, and proving a point. That the internet, this thing we all rely on, was incredibly fragile. They wanted to show everyone that no corporation, no government truly controlled the web. It was a digital Wild West, and they were the outlaws. And their attacks were legendary. LulzSec went on a 50-day hacking spree that made headlines worldwide. They hacked into Sony Pictures and leaked the personal data of millions of users, just to show how weak their security was. They took down the CIA's public website with a simple DDoS attack, making the world's most powerful intelligence agency look foolish. They even defaced the website of the TV network PBS after it aired a documentary that was critical of WikiLeaks. They weren't just stealing data. They were sending a message, and they were having fun doing it. But the lulz couldn't last forever. As their fame grew, so did the target on their backs. Law enforcement agencies from around the world joined forces to hunt them down. Despite their skills, Jake and the others were still just kids, and they made mistakes. They left digital footprints, slipped up in chat rooms, and eventually their real-world identities were uncovered. In July 2011, at just 18 years old, Jake Davis was arrested at his home. The game was over. He was charged with a string of serious computer crimes and faced years in prison. Ultimately, because of his age and cooperation, he received a suspended sentence in 2013. After his arrest, Jake Davis became a completely different person. The cocky, anonymous hacker named Topiary was gone. In his place was a young man who expressed deep remorse for his actions. He began to speak publicly about the dangers of unchecked online power and the thin line between activism and outright crime. Today, he works as a writer and cybersecurity commentator, using his incredible knowledge to help protect the very systems he once attacked. He's a living example of how a few skilled individuals can disrupt the world from behind a screen. So what's the takeaway from this wild story? It's a powerful reminder that the internet is both a tool for incredible good and a fragile system that can be easily manipulated. Jake's journey from hacktivist to criminal to security expert forces us to ask some big questions. Who really owns the internet? And who has the right to police it? His story shows that with great digital freedom comes even greater responsibility. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the wild history of the internet. See you next time.